This institution, as Imam Khomeini says in terms of Hajj, he says in one of his lectures that if the powers of the world were to spend the entire treasure in creating a platform to gather people to impart a single message, they would not be able to do so. Yet the platform created by Hajj is one people flock to. I will say that he might have also intended to say that the platform created by Houssein ibn Ali through the sincerity of his devotion to Allah and what he offered on the day of Ashura is a platform that crosses Makkah, that prevails upon the entirety of the earth, an institution in itself. Can you imagine? He commands the respect of minds all over the world and transcends colors and religions. We find this so clear within Africa and India that people, when it comes to Houssein ibn Ali, they go beyond their persuasion and they say, indeed, when it comes to Hussein, we relate to him. This platform that Houssein ibn Ali has created for us is a platform through which a whole nation can be reformed. Can you imagine? People come and listen to Houssein ibn Ali, and for 10 days their minds are there to receive the message of Imam Hussein and to make something of their lives and to bring about much needed goodness in this world of ours. Before I commence with the topic, Imam Hussein Salamullah alayhi was extremely spiritual. In those few hours of Hussein ibn Ali's life that we know, he has impacted us to the core. Have you ever seen a person who has only been studied for a few hours of his life and in himself becomes a religion and an institution? This is not merely emotionally based. There are gems of humanity that he has displayed there. There are moral, spiritual, social lessons that we can learn from the story of Hussein ibn Ali. The story of integrity, of dignity, of courage, of righteousness, of morality, of spirituality, of how to grow in defeat, of how to make suffering work positively in the development of the human soul. Have you ever seen a person who at the decapitation of his son becomes more spiritual? Have you ever seen a person who at thirst eulogizes Allah more than he was before encountering the thirst? Have you ever seen a person being struck with swords, spears, arrows, stones, and yet his lips are moving in the eulogy of Allah more intensely than they were before he was attacked? Have you ever seen a person who has fallen from his steed, whose face now at the point of death begins to radiate with divine beauty and with such serenity that his antagonists are moved by it, that the people filled with hatred of this man, hard-hearted people about whom Allah says their hearts are as hard as rocks. Nay, there are rocks that split open with water flowing through them. There are rocks that break in the awe of Allah. There are rocks that fall to the ground in the absorption of the might of God, but their hearts will not be moved. Can you imagine people of such hearts being moved at that point, observing the serenity that prevails upon the face of Hussein ibn Ali? This man is truly a man that strikes at the core of humanity beyond persuasions, colors, culture, religions, beyond time and era and space. Have you ever seen such a universal person within the folds of humanity? Have you ever seen a person that impacts people so profoundly as Hussein ibn Ali does, and whose only example that people have are 6 hours of his life? To do this in 6 hours shows something, doesn't it? A man immersed in God to the level that he becomes godly. The same God who is colorless, directionless, this man of his, the devotee of his, who gives himself to the blade and everything else that he possesses, becomes as colorless, as directionless, as statusless, as a person without any denomination, And in his colorless, he encompasses all colors. And in his directionless, every direction tends to him. And in his statuslessness, every status calls out for him. And in his languagelessness, every language proclaims him. Every heart beats with that name, whether they acknowledge him as Houssein or Shabir or by any other example. How wonderful is this man, and how profound is the impact that he has made upon us.